Gaethje fought very fucking dirty in this fight. A lot of eye pokes, a groin shot as well. I think Paddy Pimblett had a groin shot that he landed too, but that was towards the end of the fight where it was just an absolute mess of a scrap between.
The absolute schooling is over, and the fight world is still picking up the pieces after Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje finally settled their rivalry in the most brutal way possible. When that octagon door slammed shut, we weren't just watching another lightweight scrap. We were witnessing the complete destruction of one fighter's confidence and the rise of another's legacy. And let me tell you something, the aftermath has exposed some uncomfortable truths about overconfidence, mental warfare, and what separates real champions from pretenders in this unforgiving sport.
48-47, 49-46, and 49-46 for the winner.
It was an absolutely incredible fight, incredible war. I want you to enjoy it, enjoy your victory. Congratulations on the interim championship belt. Look forward to seeing you fight all the time.
I just want to thank the UFC for allowing me to be in this position. This is my 11th main event.
Oh, it's
food. Obviously delivered in the main event, capped off with a war. Just give us your thoughts on Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett delivering a 5-round battle.
Yeah, I mean, what a couple. So Paddy Pimblett at the weigh-in yesterday says, I'm going to knock this motherfucker out tomorrow. And I was like, that's interesting. And he never abandoned that game plan. Even when, he got dropped a couple times, I kept waiting for him. I'm like, he's eventually going to have to shoot and try to submit him. Now I didn't know Paddy Pimblett had a chin like that till tonight. And, yeah, absolute dogfight in a war, and much respect to both guys.
We haven't seen Justin yet, so we don't know what his status is physically. But, I mean, is the interim, is the unification fight have to be next? Or is there a case if he's hurt and needs to be out for a while?
Apparently he's 100%. So we sent Paddy Pimblett straight to the hospital, and then we're going to send Gaethje too. And Gaethje's like, believe me, I've been in plenty of wars. I'm good. So as far as we know right now, he's healthy.
Dana, I remember when Paddy first arrived in the UFC, you were saying stuff like, well, his entrance is good and it's all well and good to get the fans, but he needs to be able to fight. Obviously, we've seen him have great wins before, but to show you the durability he had in that fight tonight, do you feel like even though he lost, he will be considered one of the best in that division moving forward?
No doubt about it. I mean, he was the favorite tonight. I think that's what fucked him. Every other one, he's the underdog and everybody thinks he's going to lose. Tonight, he's the favorite. I don't think that his game plan was the greatest. Obviously, tonight he showed he is tough, he is durable, and almost impossible. I mean, especially against Gaethje. And you're eating those punches from him. It's one thing to say, listen, I'm going to come out. I know I believe in my durability. I believe in my chin, and I'm going to go toe-to-toe with this guy. But when it starts to not work, at some point you got to say, you know what? It's the third round. I got 2 rounds left. I might want to try to take him down and submit him here.
Here's where it gets absolutely wild. The victor didn't just win this fight, he made it educational. Remember all that pre-fight trash talk? One fighter confidently declaring his opponent's face wouldn't look the same after the contest, while smugly suggesting his own would remain untouched. Well, check the scorecards now. Check the medical reports. That cocky prediction backfired in the most spectacular fashion imaginable. The winner essentially turned this into a masterclass on why fake confidence will destroy you every single time at the elite level. You can't walk into that octagon with baseless arrogance and expect to survive against a true killer. Champions prepare for the worst-case scenario in every exchange, every position, every moment. They embrace the possibility of disaster because that's what brings out their absolute best when everything's on the line. This wasn't just a fight, it was a harsh reality check delivered with extreme violence.
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again. I'm like, the fans don't ever ask for a rematch or anything like that, because that would have never. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man, and he's one of my favorite guys to watch. So like, but if you want to beat Justin Gaethje, you have to. So he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket, and he's gonna throw everything he got in that pocket. If you don't meet him, you'll get chewed up. So Paddy, the way to beat a guy who like does this, very violent, aggressive pressure fighter, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave, and you have to go when he goes in between his shots. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not brave and courageous and throw when he throws in between his shots, it's going to be a really long night. It's going to be a hard night for you.
But here's what nobody's talking about. The combat sports world was completely split on this matchup before it even happened, and the expert predictions reveal exactly why this outcome shocked so many people. Eddie Alvarez, the former champion who actually fought Gaethje and lived to tell about it, warned everyone about something sparring partners can't replicate. He talked about a unique type of suffocating pressure that you simply cannot prepare for in any gym. Those relentless body shots that steal your breath. The unyielding aggression that gives you no room to think, no space to recover. Alvarez knew firsthand that no amount of training camp preparation could truly brace someone for that reality until you're living it under championship-level pressure. And he was absolutely right about the psychological warfare that comes with facing a human wrecking machine.
And more skilled, more experienced, I think better fighter all around, Justin Gaethje. But I also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. You know, because of his haircut and the way he talks. And when I fought him, he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there. But Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion. And then he'd use Ilia Topuria later on this year.
Now get this part. Michael Chandler, who holds the brutal distinction of fighting both these warriors inside that octagon, offered insight that nobody else could provide. After watching Pimblett's impressive stoppage victory that shocked the MMA world and solidified his rising star status, Chandler admitted the Liverpool native possessed a far more complete skill set than critics were giving him credit for. But when forced to make a hard prediction, Iron Mike still leaned toward Gaethje. His reasoning: superior seasoned experience and an overall skill level that was simply a cut above. Chandler described Gaethje as presenting a completely different kind of test, a gauntlet that would separate the contenders from the champions. He saw Gaethje's unparalleled pressure and devastating power as something Pimblett had never truly faced in his professional career. That prediction aged like fine wine.
Towards Justin,
you're one of the few that I've heard say that. Can you tell us why?
I just think he's been in those 25-minute fights. He's been in dog fights before. I think Paddy's going to have a tough time stopping him on the feet, and I don't think Paddy's going to be able to get him down, so he's going to have to fight with him. Unless Paddy can stay super disciplined for 25 minutes, stay at distance, pick his shots. Justin's just a bigger puncher, and he'll put himself in harm's way to land one of those shots. And it's tough to stay away from it for 25 minutes.
Do you think that the UFC wants Paddy to win?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, because Justin's talking about retirement, and Paddy's still young, and they can continue to build him. There's a bunch of fights we haven't seen with Paddy. So it's more marketable if Paddy wins.
And so how do you see it playing out?
I think...
Here's the kicker, though. Tony Ferguson, LQQ himself, brought a deeply personal perspective that nobody else could match. Having faced both fighters across his legendary UFC career, Ferguson saw psychological factors that most analysts missed completely. He believed Gaethje's history with interim belts and falling short in undisputed title shots might create mental strain under pressure. Those past disappointments could haunt him when the lights were brightest. But Ferguson also recognized something dangerous in Pimblett's raw hunger, that burning desire to capture his first major championship. Sometimes that desperation creates an almost supernatural drive that elevates fighters beyond their normal capabilities. From his own brutal encounters, Ferguson saw weaknesses in both men but leaned slightly toward backing the hungrier challenger. That pure, unadulterated hunger for gold can be the ultimate advantage in a high-stakes war.
Fun fight. I'm going to go with Paddy, you know what I mean? There's been a couple of times where I thought Paddy's had big tests in front of him and he's passed them. And, you know, he showed me in his last fight he can really stick to a game plan. And he's going to need that with a Gaethje.
And then there's Colby Covington, who expressed serious frustration with how heavily the betting odds favored the British contender. Chaos declared he would have wagered serious money on Gaethje if active fighters were permitted to gamble, which they obviously aren't for good reason. Even with public opinion and the entire gambling world leaning toward Pimblett, Covington saw something different. He perceived Gaethje as uniquely battle-tested, a proven warrior who would apply relentless, suffocating pressure unlike anything Pimblett had ever experienced inside that cage. This wasn't just another tough fight in Covington's eyes. He believed Gaethje was bringing a completely different kind of storm, the type that breaks fighters mentally before they break physically. That insight proved prophetic.
Bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again, Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness, in my opinion.
Matchup, Yeah. I think 5 rounds. If this is the common take, everybody gonna say that, not only me, but if Justin Gaethje doesn't stop him on the beginning, he's going to lose. I think everybody thinks like that, and I think Paddy Pimblett will beat Justin Gaethje.
But wait, it gets even more interesting. Sean O'Malley stood firmly apart from his peers with vibrant confidence, enthusiastically supporting Pimblett to claim that interim championship gold. Sugar Sean viewed this as a prime stylistic matchup for the British grappler to overcome, seeing openings where others saw only danger. O'Malley boldly predicted Pimblett would find a crucial weakness in the second round and seal the deal with his signature rear-naked choke submission. This prediction revealed tremendous faith in Pimblett's elite ground skills and fighting intuition, his ability to sense when opponents were exposed during chaotic scrambles. O'Malley believed those superior jiu-jitsu skills would prove absolutely crucial when the pressure reached its peak. Unfortunately for Pimblett fans, that ground game never materialized when it mattered most.
I'm kind of leaning towards Paddy. But the way he does get hit with left hooks, he looks so good against Michael Chandler. Paddy's got a lot of ways to win.
He's a scouser.
He's a scouser. Scousers don't get knocked out, you mushroom.
He KO'd Dustin with a head kick too. The fight before the Max Holloway one, which is pretty impressive.
So there you have it. The experts were split, the predictions were all over the place, and the fight delivered exactly the kind of violent education that makes this sport so unforgiving. One fighter's overconfidence got exposed in the most brutal way possible, while the other's experience and pressure proved unstoppable. This wasn't just about technique or athleticism. This was about mental toughness, preparation, and the harsh reality that fake confidence gets you hurt at the highest level. The lightweight division just got a serious shakeup, and both fighters' careers have taken dramatically different paths. So here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Do you think this was more about the winner's dominance or the loser's mental mistakes? And what does this mean for both fighters moving forward? If this breakdown helped you understand what really happened in that octagon, smash that like button, subscribe for more in-depth MMA analysis, and hit the notification bell because the fight game never stops delivering these incredible stories. I'll see you in the next one.
RNC is definitely possible.
You know what's absolutely mind-blowing about this whole situation? The ripple effects from this fight are already reshaping the entire lightweight landscape in ways nobody could have predicted. Dana White's post-fight press conference revealed some shocking behind-the-scenes details that completely change how we view both fighters' futures. The UFC president admitted he was genuinely surprised by the one-sided nature of this beatdown. And when Dana White is shocked by violence, you know something truly special just happened inside that octagon. But here's where things get really spicy. The immediate aftermath exposed a fundamental flaw in how modern MMA fans evaluate talent based on highlight reels and social media buzz, instead of actual championship-level experience. Pimblett's massive following on Instagram and TikTok created this false narrative that popularity equals fighting ability. His army of loyal supporters genuinely believed their charismatic hero could waltz into a title eliminator and outwork one of the most dangerous lightweights on the planet. That delusion got shattered in the most violent way possible, and it serves as a brutal reminder that the octagon doesn't care about your follower count or your viral moments. What's absolutely fascinating is how this fight completely validates the old-school approach to building contenders. Geith took the long, painful road through absolute killers like Tony Ferguson, Donald Cerrone, and James Vick. Every single one of those wars taught him something valuable about surviving under extreme duress. Meanwhile, Pimblett was fast-tracked based on entertainment value and marketability rather than proven skills against elite competition. The UFC's matchmaking philosophy just got a reality check that will influence how they build future stars. You can't manufacture championship-level experience in a laboratory or a marketing meeting. And let's talk about something nobody wants to acknowledge. The betting public got absolutely destroyed on this fight, losing millions of dollars because they bought into hype instead of analyzing actual fighting fundamentals. Professional gamblers who study tape and understand stylistic matchups made a killing, while casual fans who bet with their hearts instead of their heads learned an expensive lesson. The sportsbooks were practically giving away free money to anyone smart enough to recognize that social media popularity doesn't translate to octagon dominance. This financial massacre serves as a perfect example of why emotions and fandom should never influence your analysis of professional combat sports. Here's something that's been bothering me since this fight ended. The commentary team and certain MMA media personalities are already trying to rewrite history about Pimblett's actual skill level. Before this fight, these same analysts were praising his submission game and calling him a future champion. Now they're acting like they always knew he was overrated and never belonged in a title eliminator. This revisionist nonsense is exactly what's wrong with modern MMA coverage. Have the courage to admit when your predictions were wrong instead of pretending you saw this coming all along. The tape doesn't lie, and neither should the people covering this sport. But wait, there's an even deeper psychological element that most people are completely missing. Pimblett's entire fighting identity was built around being the fun-loving, confident Scouser who could back up his trash talk with spectacular finishes. When that identity got completely shattered in front of millions of viewers, it created a crisis that goes far beyond just losing a fight. Some fighters never recover from that kind of psychological devastation. Look at what happened to Sage Northcutt after he got brutally knocked out in one championship, or how Paige Van Zandt struggled after her confidence got shattered by multiple brutal losses. Mental warfare is real, and this beating might have permanently altered Pimblett's relationship with violence and competition. Now here's where the story takes an absolutely wild turn that nobody saw coming. Less than 48 hours after this fight ended, 3 different lightweight contenders called out the winner on social media, trying to capitalize on the momentum and insert themselves into the title picture. Islam Makhachev's team immediately started campaigning for a unification bout, while Charles Oliveira reminded everyone he never actually lost his belt inside the octagon. Even more surprising, Conor McGregor broke his social media silence to congratulate the winner and hint at a potential super fight that would break every pay-per-view record in UFC history. The lightweight division just became the most exciting weight class in mixed martial arts, and we're about to witness some absolutely incredible matchups. Here's something that's going to blow your mind about the technical aspects of this beatdown. The winner didn't just rely on raw power and aggression like most people expected. If you study the tape carefully, you'll notice incredibly subtle adjustments that completely neutralized every single weapon in Pimblett's arsenal. Those legendary leg kicks that usually slow down opponents, perfectly checked and countered. The tricky grappling transitions that made Pimblett famous. Completely stuffed with superior wrestling fundamentals. Even the psychological warfare and mind games got turned around and used against their creator. This was a masterclass in preparation, adaptation, and fight IQ that will be studied in gyms around the world for years to come. What's absolutely terrifying is how this fight revealed that Pimblett's previous opponents were nowhere near the level everyone thought they were. When you dominate fighters who later get exposed as pretenders, your own accomplishments become questionable. It's like a house of cards where removing one piece makes the entire structure collapse. The UFC's European expansion strategy was partially built around Pimblett's star power and marketability, but now they need to completely reevaluate their approach to building international stars. You can't just find charismatic personalities and hope they develop elite skills along the way. But here's the most shocking revelation from this entire situation. Multiple sources close to both camps revealed that Pimblett's training team knew he was in serious trouble during the final weeks of preparation. Sparring sessions weren't going well, his cardio was questionable, and there were genuine concerns about his mental state heading into the biggest fight of his career. Instead of addressing these red flags honestly, his team chose to maintain the confident public facade and hope everything would magically come together on fight night. That's organizational malpractice that borders on criminal negligence. A fighter's safety should always come before promotional obligations and financial considerations. And get this part because it's absolutely crucial for understanding what happens next. The winner's post-fight interview revealed a level of tactical awareness that most fans completely missed during the actual broadcast. He specifically mentioned studying Pimblett's tendency to drop his right hand after throwing combinations, a microscopic detail that created the opening for the fight-ending sequence. He also noted how Pimblett's footwork deteriorated rapidly once his cardio started failing, creating predictable patterns that could be exploited by someone patient enough to wait for the right moment. This level of preparation and attention to detail separates true champions from talented athletes who rely purely on physical gifts. Here's something that's going to change how we evaluate future prospects forever. This fight proved that social media metrics and crowd reactions are completely meaningless when octagon doors close and real violence begins. Pimblett had millions of followers hanging on his every word, sold out arenas chanting his name, and generated more online buzz than almost any lightweight contender in recent memory. None of that mattered when faced with someone who understood the science of inflicting damage and breaking opponents mentally. The entertainment value that made him famous became a liability when he needed to dig deep and find championship-level heart under extreme adversity. What's really fascinating is how this outcome affects the entire ecosystem of MMA gyms and training philosophies around the world. Pimblett's camp represented the modern approach of building social media brands and focusing on highlight reel moments instead of grinding through fundamental techniques. His opponent's team embodied old-school values like discipline, sacrifice, and preparing for absolute war every single training session. The contrast couldn't be more obvious, and young fighters everywhere just learned which approach actually works when everything's on the line. Expect to see a major shift back toward traditional training methods and away from the Instagram-friendly workouts that look impressive but don't translate to actual fighting ability.